Good morning, everybody. What is it? Is it? Could it be? Is it? Is it Friday? What? It's Friday. Good morning to you. It is Friday morning. It is 8 o'clock on the dot, which means it's time for Coffee Talk. I'm Wesh 2 First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. It is so, excuse me, it is so beautiful outside. This is a shot from our Daytona Beach Tower Cam network. Man, oh man, what are you doing today to enjoy this weather? Whatever it is, I hope you find plenty of opportunity too. First warning, live Doppler radar picking up on a little interference, not a problem. We can manage. It is what it is. Temperatures out the door, nice and cool. I'll tell you, we're sitting at 64 degrees in Orlando. It's 61 in Leesburg, 57 degrees outside in DeLand, 55 degrees in Ocala. So it looks fantastic. It feels fantastic. Whatever your plans are, unbelievably great. Alan says light fog in northwest Orange. That's correct. Yeah, we've had some areas of fog. Let's check in on our visibility numbers around central Florida. Not doing too bad. Did have some thicker fog earlier, and that was all thanks to a really calm wind. But that wind has started to kind of pick a little bit. The fog has begun to lift. I didn't see any fog when I was taking the kids to school this morning, so far so good in terms of that. Hopefully we'll keep things looking great. Let's talk your forecast, shall we? Bright sunshine today. It's 80 degrees 1 o'clock, 83 our 3 o'clock temperature. Partly cloudy skies through the day. It's going to be a glorious day. Weak little front kind of sneaking on through the area. We can handle it. That's not going to be too much of a concern for us. So, not big thunderstorms, a nice, mostly quiet forecast. It's Friday after all. What are you doing? What are you doing to try and take advantage of this beautiful weather on a Friday as the sun is coming up? Man, oh man. I say good morning to y'all. Tim says it's at least a 2-layer day in the Burris scale. You know what's funny is I set up Coffee Talk out here, and I'm like, ooh, to sit and talk for a half an hour, I don't know that I'd be able to do this. I just had my t-shirt, and so I just ran upstairs to grab my little my little sweatshirt, and it's the first wearing of this sweatshirt for the season too. So there's that. Do I have my little pull cable? Where's my other little pull cable? Oh, it's there. Okay, got to make sure we're balanced here. Okay, all right. How you doing, Harry? Good morning to you. Nicole, good morning. Good morning. How are ya? Susan, good morning. David, Karen, good morning. When is it going to snow? Steven's asking. Well, Steven, I'm proud to say I have 0 snow in my forecast whatsoever. Here's a look at the kind of overall setup. Nice sunny skies for us this afternoon. Tonight into tomorrow, weak little frontal boundary just kind of turns the winds around just a little bit. And all it's going to do is give us kind of a little bit of a hit of northerly winds. It's not like we're going to see a dramatic shift in temperatures by any stretch of the imagination. So looking at the forecast temperatures the next couple of days, let's just talk highs for a moment, okay? Morning low temperatures are feeling great. Highs, we kind of just stay steady, right? Like 83 today, 84 degrees tomorrow. We can get a little warm, 86 on Sunday, which, may I add, that the GFS kind of had this right. Ooh, that pains me to say. And then Monday, kind of resetting things. In terms of morning lows, by the way, here's a look at those. All still looking fantastic, all still doable, right? We'll see that front come through tonight into tomorrow, and that'll drop the temperatures just a little bit by Monday, by Sunday morning, and then Monday into Tuesday will kind of start to come up just a little bit. So, Stephen, I'm proud to say there is no snow whatsoever in the forecast at all. Here's a look at high temperatures today, though. These don't look too bad. Definitely a little warmer. 83 degrees in the city. It's 82 degrees today in DeLand, 81 in Daytona Beach, and 80 degrees Palm Coast. Notice the average high temperature is 84, so even still, we're below average. Debbie says, it's an Epcot day. I'll take that. Nothing wrong with that. Ben, good morning to you. Tim, is it colder on the lanai or in the studio? Oh, that's a good question. It's colder in the studio. It gets so cold in that studio, your fingers freeze, like they go numb. Yeah, it's definitely colder in the studio. Yeah. Karen says, go Knights. Charge on. I'll be wearing my outfit tomorrow all day. We used to have a saying back in college. I mean, I'm almost 40 now, so it's a little different. But in college, we would say, win or lose, we still booze. Now, I was never a drinker, so it didn't really work for me, but I would still say it. We would also say that we're a drinking school with a football problem. That was back in the day when we went like 2 seasons without winning a game. I mean, tomorrow's Oklahoma. It's going to be a tough one just because it's against Dylan Gabriel, who was our former quarterback. That's all. And Jeff Levy, which that's a whole other drama world in the coaching situation, but I digress. So yeah, I'm still going to be cheering on the Knights. I'll still be excited. I'll still have my Driggers pin on when I do the weather tomorrow morning. If you know, you know. That's all. Yeah. Mike says, wanted to go golfing today, but we're expecting rain shortly here in North Carolina. Yeah, there's that. There's that. Yeah. All right, that we could have a colder winter this year due to El Nino. Is this true? Sonia, yeah. When it comes to El Nino winters, we typically see more storms here. When it comes to El Nino winters in Central Florida, what ends up happening is these storm systems drop further south. So what you end up with is you typically end up with wetter, stormier winters in Central Florida. And in terms of temperatures, it does give us the threat of severe weather, but in terms of temperatures, those storm systems usually do usher in some cooler temperatures. So yeah, there's that on the horizon. Yeah. Taylor says listening mode for a new baby needs a diaper change. Oh yeah. I personally do not miss that at all. But I feel ya. I never got my UCF tie. No, I don't know what I'm going to wear. And I don't think I have time to run and get a UCF tie today at the bookstore. No, dang it. Oh well. Mike says, I don't see any LRC recycle so far. Looks like it'll be a quiet season. It's the 10th day of the new cycle. Let's calm it down there, Mike. We have already listen, I mean, we've already watched. It's the 10th day. And in the 10th day, we already have one pretty decent little signal. We showed this on our Tracking the Tropics broadcast the other day. But like, we had that October 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th low. And I haven't updated it, admittedly, since the 15th. So I do need to go back and do some work. But like, there's your first signal right there. So yeah, there's a sign. So it's way too early to tell if there's any kind of recycle stuff. Way too early to tell. Yeah. What are the odds Normal will throw stuff our way? I don't know. When's the shortest cycle time for the LRC? I want to say it was probably like 35 or 40 days. You know? I would think something to that effect. Beverly, muy buenos dias, un café. Ooh, café. Dark like my soul. I love it. Are we still expecting severe weather at the beginning of November? Well, Wendy, when we looked at the long range kind of cycling yesterday, it definitely showed that signal still there. So we'll look at the model data together here in just a little bit. But yeah, it definitely showed that. We'll get to that stuff in a couple minutes. First, though, we've got Biketoberfest, remember. So for today, friends, beautiful. If you're heading out that direction, check twice, save a life. We talked about this yesterday. I went on my soapbox. All right. High school football forecast. Kaiva and Jones. Oh my God. Tell me that's a beautiful forecast, right? Like, look at how lovely. New Smyrna and Spruce Creek. And then, of course, there's the weekend parade on Saturday, the festival and parade in downtown Orlando. We did this with the kids a couple of years ago. It was so much fun. I've got an Orlando Science Center board meeting that day, and so I can't make the parade, unfortunately. So But if you're heading on out, it's going to be beautiful weather. It's going to be beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weather. So lots of good stuff happening around Central Florida these next couple of days, including this fantastic forecast. It looks great. It feels great. All good things in the world. Right? Right? All right. Let me just check here. Just a reminder, we, of course, do have Tammy out in the tropics. Can you believe it? We've got our T-named storm. Here's a look at the forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center. Tammy, thankfully, expected to stay way out to sea and not bother us whatsoever. May throw some rougher surf our direction. So there's that. And then do you remember a couple of days ago I was watching the old front that brought us the cool air and was talking about how old fronts sometimes bubble up moisture? There you go. Hurricane Center showing a little area of interest down around Central America, a low-end 20% chance. Not really seeing a huge thing there, but something to watch. Also, the front that's kind of moving over us right now, like, look at that fire up of moisture over the Bahamas. That's kind of interesting. So, watching things, but relatively speaking, the tropics are nice and quiet at the moment, which we certainly love. But anything that were to develop in the future, okay, anything that were to develop in the future would get the name Vince and then Whitney. We're almost done with these names. Woof. All right, any questions about the tropics? If not, we can go and start looking some long-range stuff together. Yeah, Gary says, took a ride down the A1A, outstanding on the Hog. It was beautiful weather for it. I didn't go on a motorcycle yesterday. I did go flying. Oh my God, what fun that was. After we look long range, you're gonna have to let me reflect for a minute, if you don't mind, if you would thrill me for it. I'd say I changed my daughter's diapers, Mike says, and it ended up like I was hog tying. Raised my hands up at the end and said, done. They would both laugh so hard. Yeah. The labor of love with having children is really something, right? Trina says, loving this weather, fantastic outside. That's why I had to do coffee talk out here. I couldn't not do coffee talk out here. And then I realized I needed to throw on my sweatshirt also. Oh man, too funny. What's the name of the bay where that yellow circle is? Oh, that's a good point. Campeche? Need to drink. Oh, so good. Feels so good. Feels so good. All right. Okay, so let's look long range. Enough. All right, so let's look at our 7-day forecast first, and then we can expand and look long range. Loading. There we go. Play. All right, so here you go. Hold on a second. Hold on, the weather computer. Hold on a second. I have to restart the weather computer. It lost its workgroup sync. Hold on. Hold on a second while we're waiting. Campeche. All right. Feels good, doesn't it? All right, while the weather program is reloading in the background. There we go. Hit you, load. It's thinking, it's grumpy. Okay. All right, so for today, 83, 84 tomorrow, 86 on Sunday, kind of staying in the 80s. And I'll have you notice, too, in looking at that model data, or looking in that 7-day forecast, let's tap into some of the model data. Here's the raw GFS data. Let's check in and see. So it's kind of backed off a bit on the front before Halloween. I still think it's going to happen. I mean, it's bringing like the 24th temperatures down a little bit and then the 20s. So it's kind of showing a subtle drop off, but it's not going cooler. But then it's showing that November 2nd, 3rd drop off, which makes sense. So in the long range kind of cycling, I think just before Halloween we get some sort of a storm system in front, and then around November 2nd, 3rd, there should be a storm system in the front. Let's check the European model data. Okay. All right, so not quite as warm. Okay, all right, so let's dive in and look at some long-range stuff. Sound good? Any other questions? I don't even have my coffee yet to Campeche. Oh, no, I said it. Laura, you owe us 2 now. Girlfriend, go get a coffee. It's high school, I know, Jess. And, oh, Dr. Phillips, y'all are talking. I'm like, what's DP? Dr. Phillips, right? Jeannie says, we gonna be sweating in those costumes. Yeah. Can I show y'all? So real quick, so my mom ended up yesterday in the hospital for a couple of minutes. All is good. All is well that ends well. But anyway, I got a text from the wife. I was at the hospital with mom for a while, but I got a text with the wife, from the wife. Apparently the costumes have arrived. So we have our crocodile and we have our Captain Hook. And can I just say, like, my son Eric, his like facial situation there, like he looks like a villain, doesn't he? Like that's hilarious, right? He looks like he's a villain. Anyway, they were playing in their costumes yesterday, which is adorable. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. So, this is going to be a very interesting and fun Halloween, we'll say. Right? All right. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? I hate Florida. It needs to get cold again. Rebecca, calm yourself. We'll get there. Taylor, I still stand by all kids being villains. What's so funny is Eric has this diverse emotionality where he can throw it on. Like that boy needs to get into drama class, I think. Oh, Curious George, Laura, my heart be still. I love it. Yeah, Kathy says it's better than wearing coats over your costumes in raw, windy weather like we did back in Jersey. Meh. Bah humbug, I say to that. All right, let's look at the weather data. And of course, I need to log in. Of course I do. Hold on a second. Sign in. Vault. What is my password? Oh my God. Oh my God. What's my word? Hold on a second. What is my flippin' password? This is... Hi, guys. So we're live, as you can tell, and I'm struggling to get logged in, so this is fun. Passwords. Search. Okay. I love this. I love this. You guys are just like, well, this guy can't figure it out either. All right. I'm in. Maps. GFS. Sign. I just signed in. Okay. Sometimes this is the way I look at it. Sometimes you're the squirrel, sometimes you're the nut. Sometimes you're the statue, and sometimes you're the bird. Today we're the statue. Is that the face of defeat? It really is. Like, I'm typing the password accurately. What the? Why did you not work every other time? Mike says I work in IT. This is comical to me. I literally typed the exact same password. Like, ba-da-da, ba-da-da. I copied and pasted it from my password manager. All right, anyway, back to maps. They must have had a server issue. It's got to be that. But why can't it be your fault, Burris? Because I copied and pasted it and it didn't work 18 other times. All right. Pressure anomaly. Okay. Betty, I'm so glad to know it also happens to the experts. First off, I'm not an expert. Oh, that's too funny, Taylor. That's the incorrect password. Reset your password. Then when you go to do it, it tells you can't reuse the same password. I know, like, sometimes you just like, what's happening here? Let me show up to work. Okay. All right. Anyway, enough. All right, let's load through. There's Tammy, bottom right corner, recurving, staying safely away from Puerto Rico. You can see, the Leeward Islands, it may get close depending on nudges this direction or this direction. Recurves and stays out. Broad area of low pressure here. You see that there? Around November 1st. Interesting little bugger right there, huh? You see that. I know you see that. Nothing wicked though. Okay, so that's good. European. There's Tammy. Now notice Tammy on the European gets right into the Antilles there. So that's why, don't write it off if you've got friends or family that live out that direction. Tammy recurving. Broad low pressure kind of coming into the Caribbean. Nothing all that organized. Something around Central America, perhaps, bubbling, but that's it. So, okay. And then high pressure builds in. So you got to love that. All right. Now, as far as the BSR goes, kind of still talking about a little storm system before Halloween, a little storm system around November 2nd, 3rd. Otherwise, we're good. Yeah. All right. My brother Frank says EB Tech. That was an old little fake company I used to have back in the day. Imagine me being your tech support. Like, geez, you've hit a new low. The password shouldn't be 1234. I know, if it were that simple, right? Oh my gosh, Trish, yes, my ducks are not in a row. I don't even know where some of them are. I'm pretty sure one is even a pigeon. I don't know where that quote's from. I know I've heard it, and I know I love it. Oh, man. Braden, is it going to rain in Orlando tonight? It really doesn't. It really looks like it's going to be a nice, quiet stretch. We can take a look at Futurecast just so that we eyeball it together. It is Friday night after all. Like, I would do you a disservice if I did not do this, right? Looking good, looking good, looking good. Aside from a sprinkle, I think we're fine. And then overnight tonight, few additional clouds, maybe a sprinkle early tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow, look at how clear tomorrow is. My goodness. My goodness gracious. That is the stuff dreams are made of, my friends. Yeah. So, any questions, comments, concerns, anything? Serenity now, George. Serenity now. How we doing? Reminds me of the movie Airplane when the guy unplugs the runway lights. Yeah. He. Sorry. No, Oliver, you're right. Yeah, Taylor. Well, this is my computer. If this was a Wesh computer, maybe I'd throw it. But, like, this is a fully funded me computer. And if I throw this darn thing, I got to buy the next one because I bought this one. And I just replaced this one. Like, this is a newish, what is it, like 6 months old at this point? It's the 2023 version of the MacBook Pro. I think it's a good one. Also, it's the server, if anything. It's not me locally. All right. Can I chat a little bit about yesterday? Can I tell you all a little bit about flying yesterday? So I gave up flying in 2016. So it's not quite been 10 years, but it's been almost 10 years. I gave up flying when I was running up against I need to get married, I need to pay for a wedding, I need to buy a house, and I'm going to have some kids. And yeah, so I stopped. It's expensive, it's time consuming. But I've been burning out a lot recently. My mom's health hasn't been the best. My father's health hasn't been the best. And I was feeling myself not doing well. And for those of you parents, or anybody that has parented, you know, like, these kids take it all out of you. And I constantly try to get my wife to do things for her. And she doesn't do it. And I'm trying to, like, force her to do things for her. And she's going out on a date with one of her girlfriends, with our sister-in-law tonight. So, like, that's great. Like, it's gonna be a boys' night with the boys, with the kids, and it's gonna be great. I'm super grateful for it. But I need to make sure that I do things for me, just like I need to make sure she does things for her. So when Alex Alisi, you remember, former Wesh meteorologist, when Alex Alisi left, he's like, we should go fly somewhere sometime. And I said to him, I don't know that I want to do that. And he said, why? And I said, because it's going to get me back into aviation. And he's like, well, why is that a bad thing? And I'm like, because once I do it, I know it's going to overcome me. And he's like, so let's go. So I remember I should. And it's kind of, you know what, I would liken it to like an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend. Like, I showed up, we flew a Piper Archer. This is a few months ago now. Picked up a Piper Archer, which I had flown before. Not that particular one, but I'd flown the Piper Archer. Got in there, and as we're riding, I'm like, son of a... Yeah. So I got the bug again. And so anyway... I'm gonna start flying again. So I'm so grateful. Yesterday was incredible. If you didn't see it, I have to show you. I'm working with an instructor. I'd never flown with him before, worked with him before, but we got kind of paired up, and he's a good dude, super good dude, great pilot. Mr. Andrew there, that was us flying yesterday, and like, it's one thing. Whenever I went with Alex, he was PIC, so he was in the left seat. But like, you know, I did a little flying from the right seat with Alex, and it's just different. You're not the dude. You're not taking off and landing. Anyway, so Andrew's like, you know, we have a good chat before the flight, and he's like, so do you think you feel comfortable taking off and land? Like, the whole purpose of yesterday was to just get me in the left seat again, and so. He's like, do you think you'd feel comfortable taking off and landing? I'm like, well, there's only one way to find out. And I was like, so you handle the radios, you handle let me just focus on flying. And so I'm taxiing out, and I'm like, oh my God, this feels good. Clear for takeoff runway 9er right, or whatever it was. And it's like, all right, taxi out, 9er right, full throttle, engine instruments looking good, 55 knots, rotate. And as I'm doing it, I'm like, holy crap, I'm flying again. I'm in the left seat, and I'm flying again. and we did some slow flights. We did some steep turns. Then we come in and we do the approach. Coming in, extend your downwind, come around, and as it's like short final, 500 feet, 400 feet, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, pitch for airspeed, power for altitude, pitch for airspeed, power for altitude. Like, that's the mantra. Okay, pitch for airspeed, power for altitude. And then I'm like, holy crap, I'm doing this. Come in, flare, chirp, chirp, chirp. And I'm like, holy crap, I just landed this thing. And he and I are joking back and forth, and he's like, yeah, you kind of did it. He's like, you kind of came back to you. And I'm just like, oh my God, I just did this. Now, I recognize the fact that, like, I was not there in terms of being able to run radios. I was not there in terms of, like, being able to run radios, fly, and navigate. And he's like, well, you haven't flown in almost 10 years. But I flew. And so his point is like, we're going to get you. The more you do this, you'll get, because I've soloed, I've done the solo flying before, where I was running radios and navigating and all this. And he's like, once you get the muscle memory back, you'll be able to focus on the radios and the navigation. And so I'm like, okay, that's fine. But, like, y'all, I did it. And there's a saying, and I'm going to misquote it because I've got it somewhat memorized, but essentially it's, once you've tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes upward, for that's where you have been and that's where you long to go again. And that's kind of true, man. Like, once the aviation bug gets you, you got it. And so, dang, I cannot wait to do that again. I could cry. I mean, it was like that. It's like that emotional for me. And the one thing that I had said to the instructor too is, I was like, I feel like I'm flying it very differently today than, like, it was like 7-8 years ago. I was like, and maybe this makes no sense, but maybe those of us that are, look, I don't think there's any 20s in this group, so maybe y'all can understand this. I was like, the last time I flew an airplane, I was in my 20s. And there's something about, I'm 39, and I was like, there's something about being 39 in this phase of life where I just feel more in command. And he's just like, you've got some life behind. Like, we had this great conversation. It's like, I think it makes sense. Like, I feel so much more in command and on top of things today than I did when I used to fly years and years ago. And so, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait to take friends flying. I can't wait to take my kids flying and bite them with the bug. Jessica says I'm 28. Oh my God, I have a 28-year-old hanging out for coffee talk. Yes. I just figured my demographic skewed later. So, Jessica, thanks for hanging out. Campeche. But anyway, so I'm so excited. So excited. Gail says that's like scuba diving. I haven't gone diving in years, but I would imagine it's fairly simple. And I also would imagine, like, being an adult, more of an older adult, like, it handles differently. Susan says, I so enjoyed flying a Cessna, but it is expensive. Yeah. And yes, Kelly, I still am a millennial. I will receive that however it is. Debbie, I'm so proud of you and happy that you simply went for it. And can I just add too, so y'all will laugh at this. So we're waiting for the airplane because it's coming back from St. Simon's Island. And my instructor was like, yeah, one of my students is going on a long cross country. Plane comes in, refuel, and then I'm going to take it. Who gets out of that airplane? Alex Alisi. Like, it's so fitting to me, so fitting that the guy that grabbed me and pulled me back was right there when I was pre-flighting an airplane for the first time in forever, because whenever I'd fly with him, that was all his. That was all his doing. So it was like so perfect. I got an Alex Alisi hug before going, and it added to the specialness, I think, of it. So yeah. Laura says, as someone who took care of their dad and lost him while 7 months pregnant, my God, you have to find something that fills your cup. Laura, I think you're right. I think you're right. Chris, how far can I fly? I mean, as far as I have the energy to go. Obviously, you have to land about every 3 hours or so for fuel. And the Cessna 172 will do 100 knots. The 182, the flight club that I'm in has a 182, and the 182 will do about a buck. What is it? A buck 40, 140 knots. So 140 knots times about 3. That's about how far you'll go before you need to refuel. You know, got to fill that personal tank so that we're better. That, Jenny, I have not done that in years and years and years and years. So I'm working on filling my cup again. And that's why I'm not doing the afternoon coffee talk anymore. I need to do my thing, you know. At Ocean View, Sonia. Well, so what we did is we flew, and he's like, where do you want to do maneuvers? And I'm like, I don't know. And he said, you want to go to the beach and do maneuvers there? And I'm like, heck yeah, I do. So literally, we just flew over to the coast, and we were doing all of our slow flight and stuff out there. Yeah. It was glorious. Gary, Civil Air Patrol, something you and your kids can do. Oh, I'll have to look into it for sure. Matt says, the aviation bug is real. I'll never forget my first flight. I was having so much fun, the instructor had to remind me the fuel was gravity fed. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. No, I was not wearing my tights when I flew yesterday. Laura says, and I bet you felt like a better husband, dad, and son because she took time for you. I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah. Denise says, did surfing for many years and stopped for a few years for family reasons, but 8 years ago got back up on the board. Felt just like I was 14 again. Yeah. Yeah. I felt like I was 25 again. And for those of you that know who Lester Holt is, Lester's son Stefan and I worked together in West Palm. And Stefan, I consider one of my dearest friends. I adore this man. And so all day yesterday, he and I were texting back and forth because he also, a parent of 2, he's a main anchor up in Chicago at the NBC station. And he's getting back into flying as well. And so we were just kind of nerding out. He's working on further ratings. I'm going to be working on further ratings. And so we're going back to the days when Stefan and I used to fly together. So it's great. Tim says this is encouraging. I'm working a job, running a business, and I need to find my passion. Tim, do it. I have felt, and I still feel like I'm burning out, but getting up and flying hits me in a way that fills my cup and reminds me how important it is to do that. And I used to feel so selfish, but I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, you know what? Dang it, I need to do something for me. I really do. I really, really do. Chris, I'd love to fly to Bar Harbor. During the summer, I don't want to deal with icing. Yeah. All right, people. It's 8:39. Last time I went on one of those planes, I felt very airsick. Yesterday got a little choppy. It just depends on the weather, Kelly. I would say you wouldn't want to be up when I'm doing steep turns. 45-degree steep turns, and then, you go for your commercial, and I think it's a 60-degree steep turn. Steep turns, you pull some G's, so you don't want to do that. Yeah. Jackie, when I was younger, my grandmother's neighbor took my sister and mother up in his tiny plane and let me sit in the front seat and hold the wheel. It was the best thing ever. I made my mother put me into flight class, but Hurricane Andrew scared me from planes seeing them crash into my neighbors' houses after the storm. I hope that you can taste aviation again. Yeah. Terry, it's so nice to see your face light up like you discovered a new toy. You know what it is? It's not even a new toy. It's just the toy I forgot I had. It's the part of me that I've put away for so long, and it's really emotional. Like, I kept saying to the instructor, thank you. And he joked, he's like, you're paying me, right? I'm like, no, but really, like, thank you for helping me with this. And I feel the same way with Alex. Like, every time I want to thank Alex for bringing me back to it. It's like a warm, snuggly blanket that you forgot how good it felt. That's why. It's the toy you put in the donate pile that your kid decides he loves again, right? Yeah, it's meeting up with an old friend. So let's all, this weekend, let's all try to think about ways that we can fill our cup. Michelle says the best thing you can do is show your kids what it looks like to find that thing that fuels your fire. Darn tootin'. I like that. I like that. Yeah. Thanks, Alex Alisi Weather there. I just did it for you by tagging him. He's a good dude. Listen, he's a good dude. He was a pain in my butt at times. I was a pain in his butt at times. When you work together, it's just the way it is. But, like, Alex a good dude. And I can't wait to watch his future. And frankly, I can't wait to keep flying with him. He's a heck of a pilot. Who'd ever thought Alex Alisi's a good pilot? He's a good pilot. So, anyway, all right. I will continue to share with y'all my little aviation journey, and I'll post pretty pictures, you know, all that fun stuff. But thank you for listening and making me feel special. I hope that I can do the same and make you all feel special as well. Kathy, did I buzz the tower? No, it did not. Did not buzz the tower. Did not. Pain in the butt is an understatement. I know, says your former producer. It's just because I was, you know, never on time for my weather hits. My bad. All right, find something to fill your cup. Let's do that together. Let's make it a point. And parents that are in the weeds like I am, we need to find a way to do this. Okay, it's darn important. I'm burning out, and aviation is filling my cup faster than anything else on the planet. Period. So thank you. All right, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk, y'all, and thank you for listening. I hope that I'm here to listen to your fun fill the cup stories as well. Take care, y'all. Have a great day. It's going to be beautiful.